Hello and welcome to the MSTieCast. I'm Clippy Mobius.
I'm Josh McLeod.
And I'm Justin Toner.
And I'm Chris French.
And welcome to this very special end of the year in review episode of the MSTieCast. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has supported the show over the past year. And I think we've had probably the most successful year of the show we've had since its inception.
Well, I came back, so that's a good sign.
Yeah. We've done so much this year. We've spoken to alumni of Rift Movies. We've spoke to the new host of Mystery Science Theater because we saw the show's triumphant return, $6.3 million on Kickstarter. So it's been incredible. And we decided we'd take a look through what we thought was some really interesting stuff that's happened over the course of the year in Mystery Science Theater news, and we, discuss them briefly, especially because Josh, who was not here for most of the year, did not get to say his piece on some of this stuff. So I thought that would be interesting. First off, a few months ago, Justin and I discussed Zombie Nightmare, one of the scary Mystery Science Theater specials.
Mm-hmm.
Episodes, I should say, not specials, but it was one of the more recent movies they've done, a low-budget horror movie made by the company that I believe was founded by Roger Corman.
It was made by a Canadian company in, I want to say it was in, Vancouver.
Well, one of the more redeeming aspects the film had was a really good metal hard rock soundtrack, including songs by the legendary Motorhead. And we regret to state that Lemmy of Motorhead has sadly passed away.
Yep. He will be missed, although it really should come as a surprise to no one, considering his lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, dude looked great for his age. I mean, he was 70 years old.
He was also a diabetic who drank a fifth of Jack a day and smoked a pack of menthols a day.
By the way, it was New World Pictures that distributed Zombie Nightmare.
Really?
So
they just distributed. They weren't behind the production.
Okay.
Other fans of questionable movies will remember that he was also the narrator in Romeo and Juliet, and he was also in Terra Firma and Citizen Toxic Avenger 4.
And he was in that Boys Don't Cry music video for I Want to Be a Cowboy.
Yes. Also, he was the president in Return to Nukem High. He, like I said, he's very much going to be missed. We just kind of wanted to mention that because he was big into, a lot of different subjects and genres, and Mystery Science Theater was one of them. So we thought it'd be best to mention it, if nothing else. Next up, this is something that happened at the beginning of this year and has continued all through. RiffTrax did their big focus on live shows with The Crappening, which included The Room, Miami Connection, Sharknado 2, Santa, and the Ice Cream Bunny. Boy, oh boy. I was sadly only able to attend The Room RiffTrax, my first ever RiffTrax Live, which I have a video of it, plug. Very fun. I'm going to try and go to more. In fact, RiffTrax is going to be re-airing The Room live RiffTrax in, I believe it's January 4th. If any of you want to see The Room riffed by RiffTrax, highly recommend that. Which ones did you get to go to, Justin?
I got to see all of them this year.
Which one would you say was the best one?
Ooh, that's a tough call. It's kind of a close call between Miami Connection and Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny. I think I'll give the edge to Miami Connection, even though I really love the re-riff on Santa because it had the new footage in it. It's a different cut of the film. Miami Connection just had just too much glorious ridiculousness that they really worked well with. I mean, Room is still good too. I think Miami Connection 1 was probably my favorite. Wow, just slightly over the Santa re-riff.
Josh, did you get to go to any of them?
I did not. I don't live near any movie theaters that sponsor RiffTrax live events, so
That's sad.
That option's out on. Actually, the nearest movie theater I think is like a 30-minute drive.
I did get a hold of the Miami Connection. Yes, I got that. It was a lot of fun. I particularly enjoyed the shorts they had in front. It was a Halloween short, I believe. It was very disturbing. A kid had a costume which was nothing more than a paper sack, and I half expected them to have a paper bag reference to a previous live show, but it was Miami Connection. That was pretty entertaining. I did not get to see the Ice Cream Bunny one yet, but I will get that one as well. Absolutely. But they're on their A game when it comes to these live shows. They've definitely improved since they started. Because their first one, which was Plan 9, I believe?
Yes.
You can definitely tell it was their first go at trying to do a live show, a simulcast. It's a bit of some technical hiccups and some scripting issues. People were kind of just like, okay, what do we do next? I don't know. What's next? And they had a host, and it didn't really pan out as well. The riffing itself is still great, but the between bits were kind of
the 30 minutes
rocky.
Of cameos and like shorts.
Yeah, well,
like shorts that weren't being riffed.
Yeah, and I liked when Jonathan Colton came on, but it didn't quite gel completely. Plus, it was a plain stage with no, flair, and it was you could tell that the riffers, the guys, were very, very much like, okay, we've never really done this before, kind of a thing. But now this year, especially from what I've seen, they're on the ball, and I expect great things from them in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if they did another Kickstarter for their 2016 to see, what they could get away with.
Speaking of movies, Mystery Science Theater 3000 was bought in its, I don't want to say entirety, pretty much entirely bought by Shout Factory, who are going to produce a new series, for those of you who haven't heard, and for some reason skipped the first part of this episode.
I don't think there's many MST3Kans who don't know about the revival at this point after what happened with the Kickstarter.
You'd be surprised how many people I meet on a daily basis that like Mystery Science Theater. As like I'll talk about it at work or something, and someone will be like, hey, I like Mystery Science Theater, like one of my coworkers or something, and they don't know that it's coming back. I was gonna say it's just kind of a thing, like the internet fans know about it, but not everyone goes on the internet as much as everyone else. Some people just check Facebook and that's it, and they don't expect their grandma to be talking about Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, it's not like they're going to television advertising it.
Are they?
I can't. Well, maybe in the future they will, but not as of right now. Like the advertisement for television would cost like $15,000 to put it on, television, which would defeat the purpose of it in the first place. In order to have a campaign, because you'd have to spend millions of dollars in order to get the millions of dollars, so that would kind of defeat the purpose.
Joel Hodgson, as you should know, the creator of Mystery Science Theater, launched a Kickstarter in November for a new season of Mystery Science Theater. The minimum goal was, what was it? $2.2 million for 3 episodes of Mystery Science Theater to come back with a new host, new puppeteers, and a new mad scientist character. The hopeful goal was 5.5 for a total of 12. We raised $6.3 million and got 14 episodes, including a Turkey Day and Christmas special. The cast announced was Hampton Yount and Baron Vaughn as Crow and Tom Servo, Jonah Ray, who we get to speak to, amazing guy, as the new host, Jonah Heston, internet personality Felicia Day as the new mad scientist, Kinga Forrester, the daughter of Clayton and granddaughter of Pearl, and of course comedian Patton Oswalt as TV's son of TV's Frank. And he is ready to push the button.
And Jerry Mathers as the Beaver.
And there's going to be a bunch of there's supposed to be a bunch of cameos, if, time allowing. Jerry Seinfeld, Mark Hamill, Neil Patrick Harris, They have guest writers like Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland from Rick and Morty and Community, Paul and Storm, who are well known for doing stuff with RiffTrax and Jonathan Colton, and their, Ride Like the Wind, George R.R. Martin parody or song, which is fantastic. Rebecca Sugar and Pendleton Ward from Steven Universe and Adventure Time are doing design work. It's a who's who of nerd media coming together to bring back Mystery Science Theater, and I think that's beautiful.
Didn't even Mark Hamill express interest? In,
Yeah.
At least supporting the show openly. Yeah, that was the most out of left field for me. Like,
he was one of the few celebrities who actually. He was one of the few celebrities who said that they, yes, I actually donated to the Kickstarter, go support it.
And we had our Turkey Day, as we've had for the past 2 years. This time, Joel did it all from the Kickstarter offices.
Yes.
He was joined by Ashley, who wrote a letter into the show when she was a young girl. She is now known as Christmas Disco, and is in the band Freeze Pop. Their songs have appeared on Frequency, Amplitude, Guitar Hero, etc. She performed her own little interpretation of the Mystery Science theme, and I was on the ukulele. It was very, very cute. It was a really, really nice addition to the show. Overall, I thought Turkey Day was very fun this year. I really enjoyed it.
As I mentioned before, I did get to see almost all of it because I feigned sickness or not wanting to expose illness to my family because, like, more than half of the people in this house were sick. And I was like, oh no, I can't come. I'll just settle in for 6 hours of Mystery Science Theater. And it was worth it. I mean, the movie picks were great, and the bumpers were... I would have liked more variety in their commercials and, things like that. But, that's not really what I'm there for. So overall, it was a lot of fun. It really helped the Kickstarter. Maybe not during the Turkey Day Marathon. I don't know how much money they raised during the Turkey Day Marathon. But it helped get the word out and get more people going, oh yeah, there's a Kickstarter. I should finally, put money down on that if I haven't already. I myself didn't have a lot. I put down $1, but, every little bit helped. So.
And of course, the Kickstarter culminated in a massive telethon type live stream on the final day, the final countdown as it was known. And I say this as someone who enjoyed it. It was very glitchy, very awkward. They clearly had no idea what they were doing.
It started off, the first hour was quite the train wreck, salvageable only thanks to the comedic improvisational talents of Patton Oswalt. And then they started to smooth things out and they got a lot better.
So basically it was like a real telethon then.
Basically.
Yeah.
It was the internet equivalent of a public
absolutely.
access telethon, and that's why it was so charming and endearing.
Yes.
And they had on guests Dana
Yeah.
Gould, who was going to be writing for the new series, did his
Yes.
Dr. Zaius as William Shatner performing a song. I think it was Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
And he ripped it to pieces. It was fantastic. He was probably the funniest part of the whole telethon for me. And they had an interview afterward in the costume, talking about it and how it's really just kind of a simple costume and it's mostly his face. And it was built to be exactly like the Planet of the Apes makeup. How it was supposed to be very, very, how it's supposed to be very easy to apply, and you can use your full facial movements to express yourself. And it was fantastic. It looked it looked exactly like Dr. Zaius, and it was really, really funny. And it wasn't the only thing that they had on the telethon. They had a whole bunch more. They had 2 magic acts, that's Joel's, bread and butter right there. Old friends of his, he called up probably, and they did some magic acts. We had
Game Grumps.
Felicia Day, the Game Grumps, yes.
And they did
Starbomb.
Yes, they did a live Let's Play Riff thing,
yes.
a Manos game with
Manos
Protea
game.
Robot in Shadowrama.
With Crow.
Yep.
Yes,
Now,
it was a lot of fun.
Something I
That
was
was
wondering
fun.
about, was that Hampton as Crow, or was that Ninja Brian? Because it sounded like Ninja Brian.
I think I heard it was Hampton.
Yeah,
It was kind of weird
because,
that
from the,
Pro threw out the Shinobi reference, which was a Game Grumps episode.
yeah. Oh, I mean, from what the audio, it sounded like it was them filming Shadowrama with the audio of their Skype call with him, doing the riffing. Like, he was watching them play and riffing along with them.
So,
And they just kind of composited it all into one video, which was kind of neat.
So they probably had Brian or Barry or someone like operate the puppet.
Yeah, there was some audio delay on it, but it really didn't detract much from the enjoyment of it. I think they were like a half second off at the most, but it was still kind of trippy because, as a fan of both of them, to see them kind of mashed together in such a perfect way was pretty enjoyable, especially considering how hard and Mega Man-esque the Manos game is, because I've done a Let's Play of it myself, and it's really hard. Like, it doesn't pull punches.
The same studio also makes the Angry Video Game Nerd game, which is also extremely difficult and Mega Man-esque.
Yes. It's in that kind of vein where they don't coddle a player at all, and if you die, you gotta start over with nothing. And you only have a handful of lives, and if you run out, you're done. So,
I hope he makes a version of the Rebel Set video game. That would be cool.
So they should make a Laser Blast game where you just destroy everything.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'd
play
play
you blow
that.
out Star Wars signs.
I buy that on the Android store for $1. Yes, the live stream. I think the live stream went, about as well as could be expected.
Yep.
Honestly, it would. Honestly, if it had gone perfectly, I think it would have been kind of boring because they clearly didn't have very much planned for the first 90 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm. They were still getting their stuff together, and for me, honestly, the last 10 minutes of the telethon is the most exciting and the most heartwarming because Joel, he gets into his original jumpsuit and he still fits perfectly.
Yes.
And they updated the numbers with the final counts of the Kickstarter and then all of the money that they got on the add-ons in the store, and they jumped.
Right to 6.3 and everybody went nuts.
Yeah. With 1 minute to go, they went from like 6.26 to like 6.32, and people went nuts. It was fantastic. Being over here, not on the West Coast, it's like around midnight, and I'm flipping my lid because, oh my god, 14th episode,
Yeah. It was extremely exciting.
Oh yes, it was fantastic. It was a great night to be a MST.
Really?
I'm glad that the whole telethon in full is available on YouTube, with fixed and synced sound as much as possible. I mean, it's difficult, but they had a lot of celebrities over there. It was pretty nice. Yeah. And for a short while the stream was going up and down, more people went to Felicia Day's live stream on Facebook.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. I adore her, and
she was live streaming from her phone on Facebook, and it was actually
for a good 2 hours. She got good better at it.
Yeah, she was good at it.
Her phone had better quality than the YouTube live stream.
Yeah,
and they were joking about it on her live stream.
Yeah, she was about 15 minutes ahead, at least from what I was. At least she was a little bit ahead, and it was pretty crazy. Like, there were a lot of people running around, and they all wanted to kind of jump in, and it was very positive, the entire thing. Like, there was no, like...
Alright, well, speaking of revivals, the Melon Drop came back to what was KTMA this year. And they even brought back Kevin Murphy to play Bob Bag of Donuts. Which, it's so, like, that's such a weird thing to bring back.
I mean, I'm grateful because sadly, public access just really is dying, and I would argue is dead. Certainly, it is dead in the Midwest, where I think it was probably at its height. I know, Toby, you've said that public access is dead in Georgia.
It's not. See, it's not really public access. It's and it's an affiliate, and we certainly have affiliates that kind of do their own stuff. Here in Georgia, we have Peachtree TV, which was until 2007, it was TBS. Like, that was TBS Studios. Then they moved to a new studio, a new facility with a different transmitter. Yes. According to what I can gather through Wikipedia and my friends who live in Canada, they don't get TBS in Canada, they get Peachtree TV. They get local Georgia television.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Ted Turner come onto the screen every 10 minutes like Big Brother and order you to watch more Turner Broadcasting? Am I remembering that wrong? Okay.
It's like, you need to watch Cartoon Network or CNN or TBS. Melon Drop, it's actually been a thing since 1937. Spoilers, it hasn't. That's what it says on their Melon Drop page on CW23.com, the Twin Cities affiliate that was, in the 80s, KTMA.
It makes me wonder, how did it go from being the KTMA to the Christian Broadcasting Group to being CW 29?
At the time, they were known as TV23, KTMA, which is their call sign.
Yeah.
Apparently, they did a lot of comedy stuff like that, besides the 15 minutes set of sketches that Bob Bag of Donuts originated from.
Yeah. Well, and there's video of the original Melon Drops that they put up, which is actually really cool. You get to see Jim Mallon and Kevin off camera. I know Kevin Murphy said basically we had about 30 minutes of material, and we needed to broadcast for 2 hours. So, not unlike the aforementioned telethon.
Yes.
And they made it work.
Yeah, they did. They had to jump to clips every now and then during the first hour and a half because they were like, "What do we do?" And Joel would just throw a clip up, just do a short, and it worked. It was fine. I mean, it really got going toward the third and fourth hour, definitely, and it's fun to watch. I skim through it every now and then to kind of try to notice things that I didn't notice last time. Because Paul and Storm were on their A game, even when they couldn't be heard, when they had microphone problems, when they only had one remote fob that they could use. They had to switch to hand mics, and they had the puppets there, and it felt like a public access show. That was the charm, I think. I don't think they were going for it, but it really worked. They ran with it, and I admire them for that. And it just shows that they can work under pressure, which is a good sign for the Kickstarter. But
next up, we got to promote a couple of books this year. One is, I believe, not finished yet, and that is Growing Up with Monos, the book written by Jackie Ray Naaman Jones, who played Debbie in Manos: The Hands of Fate, and is currently doing her own Manos sequel/revival called Manos Returns.
That'll be interesting.
Yes.
Manos 2, The Revenge. Manos 2, Electric Boogaloo.
2 Manos. 2 Furious.
Manos 2, The Wrath of Torgo. Manos 2, The Master Strikes Back.
Manos 2, Attack of the Titans.
The Master Awakens.
Yeah.
The Master Awakens. I like that title. The other one was Sugar Ray Dodge, also known as David Chadwick, the editor of the Riff Wiki, which keeps track of RiffTrax doings and goings-on. He did the Mystery Science Storybook, a collection of comics and, short illustrated stories about Mystery Science Theater movies. If you can pick up a copy digitally or in print on Amazon, do it. It's awesome. I've read it. It's very, very funny.
It's only $4 on Kindle.
Yeah.
So
nice.
There
really is no excuse.
No reason not to check it out, because you can get a free sample and go, and give them $4, and there you go. Because it looks cute, it looks fun. I got to see a small sample. I was excited during the Kickstarter. I was really excited about it. I promoted it as much as I could, and why not give them a look?
And they also included some with Incognito Cinema Warriors, which they were contacted by Shout, and they got to do their own commercial for the Turkey Day Marathon, which was very, very cool. that they got to reach out to, easily the most popular fan effort to bring back the show, and got to do that.
Yeah.
Huge slam on mystery fandom.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
Get him on the show. He
One,
was our co-host, you bastard.
they're not doing it anymore.
No, they are. They're doing one more, and then they're gonna move on to something else.
Going back to revivals really quickly.
The Mads are back.
Yep. And they're doing their own riffing.
It's very cinematic Titanic style.
It's very fun. I would very much like to go at some point if I can
I think
find
Jonah mentioned, didn't Jonah
a
say
way to get to Atlanta and do so.
Mhm.
Yes, Other Space, created by Paul Feig, the man in charge of the Ghostbusters reboot, and
Yes.
very funny, talented guy, did Other Space, which is ostensibly a parody of Star Trek, although it parodies at most space-based science fiction series.
Right.
And his most important role of all, he played the science teacher on the first season of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, yes. Lest we forget.
Which he worked with Joel on, because Joel was the magic advisor for that show to do practical effects, and Frank had a role as a baby turned into an old man.
And he wrote episodes.
Yes, he was also a
I
writer
think he
on the
did,
show.
yeah. He did.
Joel has also been going strong as Mayor Bill Dewey in Steven Universe,
Yes.
which I think is an amazing show.
Oh my god. It's a great show, and I highly recommend it. I recommend give it the old 3-episode try. If you don't like it by the 3rd episode, then you might not like it at all, because it's nothing. It's, if anything, it is very charming. There's a whole lot of charm and color and just it's very
Deep and emotional for a kids show.
yes. It's
and
progressive.
really, if you just want to get your fill of Joel, the episode's political favors and historical friction are very Joel-centric.
Yes.
So
he plays a great Mayor Bill Dewey, who's kind of he's kind of a sad sack, but
Blowhard.
He's a blowhard. But he's also very aware of that fact, and that he tries very hard to hold on to his political position as the mayor, and because people look up to him, even though they all know he's kind of a dunce. So he works hard on trying to keep the peace. The show can kind of clue you in as to how deep this show can actually get if you let it. I mean, there's a lot of progressive themes and morals that the show can give you if you're willing to, just kind of read a little deeper than just the surface level.
I mean, like the humor and
yes.
the writing is not for everybody. It's
No,
not. Like, I know people that like the deeper parts of it, but they don't like the humor aspect, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But to me, it is the best written animated show.
Bottom line, if you haven't yet, give Steven Universe a peek. It is a charming little show that you might like. So give it the old 3-episode try.
Joel basically plays Senator Packwood minus the sex scandal. So
It's like Mayor Quimby, but
Yeah.
confident, and a parody of JFK.
Yeah.
Or a more endearing Mayor Adam West.
Yeah,
That's for another day, and I think with that, we have exhausted the year-end review of the MSTieCast and the important moments of 2015 regarding Mystery Science Theater and its alumni. Any final thoughts? I guess we'll go and turn Josh.
let's rock this paradise.
Okay, Justin.
It was quite a year for MST3K. Just a few sets with the DVDs, and now show buying it, the Kickstarter. This coming year is going to be pretty interesting to see how the new show's going to come together. It's exciting.
And Chris.
It's a very bright future for Mystery Science Theater and for riffing in general. There's a lot going on, more than just the new show, but the Kickstarter, I think, really kind of got a lot of people paying attention to Mystery Science Theater and riffing. And like I said when we first discussed the Kickstarter, I am full of cautious optimism.
All right. I think that sums it up really well. For me personally, again, it's a great thing the Mystery Science Theater is back, and there's so much media presence on it, and there's so many more people getting into the show, and that's really awesome. And I spoke earlier this year before the Kickstarter about how the show is so accessible now because there are episodes on YouTube. You can find it in a Best Buy, on DVD. You can find it at Walmart on DVD, which a few years ago was unthinkable. You would have to special order it on Amazon. You would have to get it on like a specialty store or Barnes & Noble or something, but you can go pick it up at Walmart or Target.
Yep.
And that's amazing. And if you don't get a Riff, you can just Google it, and it's very, very cool. So
yeah, with RiffTrax still going.
Right. So really, Joel is a master of timing in that way that there really was no other better time to do it, to bring it back than now. Although, again, I probably would have said they probably should have maybe tried to do the Kickstarter earlier, ended on Turkey Day. That would have made more sense to me.
But the fact that they so exceeded with like the final goal just showed the support and enthusiasm.
Blew everyone's expectations away.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a testament to the fans' support and belief that they want to see it. That they think, let's do it. We got your back.
I think 2016 will be a great year to be a MST, because there's more of us now than there probably ever has been.
And overall, just, thank God for Joel and thank God for Mystery Science Theater, and just, I'm so happy it's back. I think that about says everything we want to say. I'm Toby Mobius.
I'm sitting on this bar stool talking like a damn fool.
I'm still Justin Tony, thank you.
And thankfully, I'm still Chris French.
And this has been the MSTieCast. Thank you very much for listening. Have a very safe, happy new year. Have a wonderful 2016. And more than ever, I'm huge!
And stay tuned for a special sneak peek preview of the next MSTieCast interview with Jordan Fields of Shout Factory.
Mr. Jordan Fields.
I feel hopeful about this one. There's no truth to that rumor. Not interested in any release of the Mystery Science version. The hunt can be a fun one. I think so, yes. You never know. Stay tuned.